Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to a fully online course, History 425, Modern China. My name is Matt Brazil, and I'll be doing this course for you. As I say, this course is fully online. That means that if you want, you need never see me or be seen by me. However, I hope that's not the case. I know that many of you are remote students and that we won't meet each other, but I hope that we do. I keep regular office hours Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. And I'm in 437 Kramer most of the day during the week. You're welcome to call me on my cell phone, which I will list in the presentation, during normal business hours, and you're also welcome to contact me by email. The email list for this course is not yet working properly. I tried to send out an email blast today with a bunch of nice information in it, but I'll try to get that solved so that we can have regular communication. Again, you're welcome to contact me by email anytime and by telephone during normal business hours. Let's go on to slide 2. So this course is about China, and you're being taught by somebody who has lived for quite a number of years in China and has lived in other parts of Asia at China's periphery. And my career and my academic studies have been focused on modern China. So I hope to do my best in this course. I've taught about China before as a tutor or a teaching assistant in another university, and I've taught about Asia at this university before. I have a new PhD in spite of my advanced age. And what I bring to you that you won't get from some other instructors is a lot of on-the-ground experience. You take a look at the bio that's in D2L, and you can get an idea of what I've been doing with my life up until now. And a lot of that has been working on the ground as a military officer, as a diplomat, and as a corporate investigator all over Asia, and in particular in China. So I hope to do my best, and I hope we all get a lot out of this. So on this slide, I've listed some reasons why people often say that China is a big opportunity or a big problem. I used to tell my kids when they were living in China with me that when they were small, they're all your age now, that when you grow up, China will either be the world's biggest opportunity or the world's biggest problem. And indeed, there are some who would claim one, there are some in the West who would claim another, and there are some who would say, really, China might be both. Its economy is enormous, which was predicted, in a sense, by people over 200 years ago who, in the West, would say to each other, would write that if only one could sell a yard of cloth to every person in China or a pair of shoes, then untold riches would result. And this is the main reason why so many people from other countries were drawn to try to enter the Chinese market during the 19th century, which is when our course begins. Nowadays, they also have a very large market for foreign goods. There's a big market for U.S. exports there and for exports from other countries. And I've listed the other things which I won't read aloud. But there are also many problems. One of them is that many of China's neighbors are afraid of where they're going, what they're going to do over the next decade or so. There is an awful lot of internal problems. There are an awful lot of internal problems in China. Right now we're at about, the last time that the Ministry of Public Security, that's the equivalent of China's FBI, allowed a count or published a count of the number of serious mass incidents, which would be riots or a revolt or something like that. The last time they allowed such a count was 2009, and it was up past 250,000. This would count everything between burning a police station because people were upset at somebody being arrested, to local revolt in a town in Guangdong province last year, or actually it was the year before now. A revolt in the town of Wukan, W-U-K-A-N, which you could look up on as a web search, W-U-K-A-N, Wukan, made world headlines, not because it was unique, but because there happened to be enough foreign correspondents in the immediate area to go there and start covering it, to actually send the news out. So there are all sorts of problems like this. Again, I don't want to read through them. It would take too much time. But these are things you've seen in the newspapers, and they make China potentially a big problem for its neighbors and for other countries in the world. And it is these problems, as well as these opportunities, that we will work our way toward discussing. At the end of the course, I've reserved 2 full weeks to look at the way China is governed today and the problems that governance poses or governance tries to solve. So I'm looking forward to that, and it's the sort of thing that I think will assist you when you get out of here and you go on to a career and you are possibly working for a government or a company or a non-government organization that has some interest in understanding what's going on in China. Maybe you'll end up going there to take a year off to teach English. Maybe you'll end up going there because you're working for Southwest Bell or some other company. And in any case, whether you go or you don't, China today is so big and so important that it's important to understand it just as a voting citizen, much less as someone who might become connected to that place by the economic realities of China's huge presence in the world. Let's go on to slide 3. I emphasize critical reading and viewing and writing in this course because if there's one thing that is going to mess you up in your job search and in your career, it's the inability to write. If you can't write right now, then I will help you find help you find the right resources for that, but actually I'm getting ahead of myself. I should focus on this slide. The papers that I want you to write will, if they are successful, the successful papers will show your ability to absorb and interpret information. When you do this, please don't do what a lot of students do and take big quotes out of the textbook and slap it into your paper. That's just not on. I've put the notes in here about why that's not on, why it's not okay. You can find some good examples of how to use quotes in a professional way. If you look in several of our readings, one of them, let's see, is Goldstein here. And if you look in Goldstein on page 19 and 20, you can see an example of the proper use of a quote, which was a writing from the time being discussed, rather than someone else's interpretation from the present day. Please pay attention to all the deadlines, which I've put in another slide. Slide 6 ahead of us has all the deadlines in it because they all are relevant to your grades. In particular, the discussions are the sort of thing that a lot of people blow off, but if you blow off a discussion, that's 2 points off your grade. That's 2 points out of 100 off your grade. And that will add up, so don't blow off the discussions. There are specific instructions on the discussions which I've given in each week, so look in the discussions tab under D2L and you'll see what I'm talking about. The syllabus is also posted in D2L. Take a look at that, please. I've tried to make it as short as possible. And I've tried to make sure that every sentence I've put into the syllabus earned its way on there. So I have not filled out this syllabus with useless information. This is all stuff you need to know. Please take a close look at the syllabus. All the textbooks are in the bookstore, and so you should have no trouble finding them. Some of them are cheaper online if you go to Amazon. But please do not tell me all about the troubles you're having getting the textbook. It's not in the mail yet. The bookseller ran out, all that jazz. That's not an excuse for skipping a discussion or not meeting a requirement, because the books are in the bookstore. Let's go on to slide 4. The discussions I've already brought up. There are 2 papers. It turns out you're all undergraduates. I thought that I had a couple graduates in here, so you can forget about all this stuff about graduate students. 2 short papers are required. They're 20% each, and there's a take-home final that's worth 40%. And you'll find that you must write you must write understandably to do well in this course. And that I grade partly based on how understandable your writing is. I will get after you for silly grammatical errors that should have been erased years ago, and I will help direct you toward help for that. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. But you'll find that most of the grade, not all, but most, comes from your ability to show understanding of the material and to spit it back out in a way that is comprehensible and convincing. I'm not going to worry too much about things like noun-verb agreement, but again, if you don't know about noun-verb agreement, then you better start finding out, because you will lose a few points for it. The things I'm most interested in, though, is helping you understand the historical foundations of modern China and appreciate the diversity of peoples. They're not all, quote, Chinese, unquote, in China, and they never have been. There's a huge diversity of peoples in the People's Republic, the PRC, today, and understand how colonialism impacted the region and why the United States, although it was never really a colonial power in China, it was a colonial power in the Philippines, but why the United States remains an Asian power that is very important to China, and indeed, many people have called the U.S.-China relationship the most important one in the world. I also want you to understand how foreign ideas have influenced the country over the past 200 years. Be able to explain how the roles of women and men have changed, and I want to make sure that you sharpen or improve your critical ability in evaluating media about China. This is very important because there's a lot of junk out there about China, and I'm not assigning any of it for you to watch. I'm assigning you good things to watch. But I want to help you understand how to spot bad things so that you're not influenced by them, and indeed so that you can help your fellow citizens understand that the bad things are indeed junk. I'm going to stop the recording here and record again starting on slide 5.